Welcome to the art project. This is drawing challenge number 13, and we are continuing with value and trying to hone our skills with shading. And the first thing you need to do is go and get some eggs. So it just so happens I have some eggs out here in the backyard. Let's see how these egg makers are doing this morning. Hey, chickie, 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 chickie. Alright, well, you may not have access to chickens like this or eggs like this, but grab a couple of eggs out of the refrigerator, let your mom know what you're doing, and don't break them. If you do break them, try and save the yolk somehow so you can cook it later, or have breakfast and save the shell, wash it off a little bit, and set it up as a still life. When you set it up as a still life, you may want to try out different poses. I tried out a couple here. And finally decided to go with this one. Now, the image you see up in the top right is very close, but not exactly like the image that I was drawing. I was drawing from observation, and I had two lamps, not just one. The image you see up on the right is actually one single lamp, and I took a photograph of it for this video, but as I was drawing, I actually had two lamps on it, which created a double shadow. I also had them right in front of me, so a couple of times I turned my paper around to shade better and actually knocked the whole still life around a little, so I had to change things. And believe it or not, depending on, you're going to get this, this if you have any experience drawing, but if you don't have any experience drawing, if you're new to drawing, just the smallest nudge changes the view of something. If you look at an image, an object with one eye, and then you switch eyes, that whole object seems to shift because one eye doesn't see exactly the same thing the other eye sees. You can experiment with this by putting your finger up in front of your face, close one eye, and just kind of point at something, and then without moving your finger, switch eyes, and you'll see your finger is no longer on that image. So anyway, or that object. So anyway, I put out a little still life here. Now again, depending on whether or not you are an experienced artist and you've drawn a lot, or whether you're a beginner, you might have more or less eggs. So if you are a beginner and it's okay with your teacher, if you're getting this as an assignment from your teacher, ask her or him what is necessary for the grade. They may require 1 egg or 10 eggs. It's up to the different teachers. Or they may just ask you to do this challenge the best you can. The more eggs you include in your still life, the more interesting it's going to be, the more impressive it's going to be, and the better your grade is going to be. So you use as much as you need, or challenge yourself as much as you can. Draw lightly so you can erase if you need to. Cannot stress that enough. Do not draw so dark that you can't erase it. All of these drawing challenges that I've been doing are done with either a white piece of paper, all done with a white piece of paper and either a pen or a pencil. So I'm trying to keep them really simple. So get you a white piece of paper, pencil, draw lightly, and the kind of pencil you use makes a difference. Some pencils will draw darker, some of them will draw lighter. Some of them have softer lead, some of them have harder lead. So find the right pencil. And you may have to do more than one drawing in order to get a good drawing. The more you practice, the better you're going to get at it. I was having this conversation just the other day that it seems that a lot of students think, whether they know they think it or not, maybe it's subconscious. On a subconscious level, they think that if they can't draw it the first time they draw, that they're no good as an artist. And that's just not true. That's like saying if you don't make the basket into the hoop the first time you ever try to throw a basketball into the hoop, then you'll never make it as a basketball player. That's not true. Just because you can't dance the first time you try to dance doesn't mean you can't learn ballet. So persevere. Do the best you can. This video is not real time. It is sped up. Some of the different parts are sped up faster than others, but this particular part of it I think is sped up like 2 times its normal speed, so it really at this point took me about 8 minutes to get to this part of it. So I expect it'll probably take you longer depending on how much experience you have. Just do the best you can. It's not going to happen real fast. You need to set aside at least an hour, I would think, for most of these drawing challenges. If you don't spend an hour on it, you cannot expect a 100% grade. So spend a lot of time taking your time, draw lightly, and then when you're shading it, it's always best probably to start out light and get darker as necessary, because once you get really dark, it's hard to erase and get it to be really light. In this case, this is really important that you remember this. Right here, I'm working on a shadow that you don't really see in the little image. This has a double shadow, like I was telling you before, and so part of it is darker and part of it is lighter. In the little image, you can see the shadow is pretty dark, but answer this question: is that shadow black? No, it's not. It's pretty dark, but it's probably not black. So slowly build up the shade. Look at the shadow on the left at the bottom made by the bowl-shaped eggshell. That shadow is darker than the shadow above it made by the other egg. And the shadow on the egg is darker than the shadow that it casts onto the paper. You need to examine all of these things to the best of your ability and erase, try again, fix it, add to it, erase as you need to. Look for the shadows, the core shadows, the highlights, all of that. These eggs are not white. The paper is white, and even most of the paper is in shadow and shade. So it's not really a solid white. So don't leave your eggs solid white. Shade in majority of the egg and leave only the highlights pure white. You'll see this as we're going. Alright, I'm back. Well, you didn't know I left, but I did. I had to go and take care of some things. During this coronavirus, I am attempting to do all things schoolwork related, trying to take care of my students and grade papers. I'm also building a fence around my yard and playing Mr. Mom, playing stay-at-home dad kind of thing, taking care of my kids, chickens, all that kind of stuff. So anyway, coronavirus or no coronavirus, things go on, and so I am just continuing to draw and make videos and grade papers and make lesson plans, and I hope you all are working as hard. Don't let this be like a vacation. I mean, obviously it gives you a little bit more time, but use that time to work and to practice, to hone your skills, to get stuff done. Don't be lazy. Good luck. Make some art. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff.